Boris Johnson may be set for a Brexit breakthrough when trade talks resume with the EU, according to Brexiteer John Redwood. Tory MP John Redwood noted Boris Johnson's consistency and demands would greatly strengthen the UK's negotiating position with the EU on a post-Brexit trade agreement. During an interview with Express.co.uk, Mr. Redwood claimed the UK would only get a good trade deal when the EU realised there was nothing else on offer. He added that if Mr. Johnson remains consistent and shows no signs of significant compromise, the EU will be forced to agree to a mutually beneficial trade deal. Mr. Redwood said, "I can't be sure of what is in Boris' mind, but I can offer my advice. My advice is that Boris has to carry on saying and doing exactly what he has been saying and doing from the outset of these post-Brexit trade talks. That the British position is a respectable, sensible and a strong one. Over the weeks ahead, if it becomes clear to the EU that our position is not going to change, we will start to see movement. If the EU thinks that Boris Johnson does have some secret dodge for making further compromises, then they will be very tough. They could even get the better of him." Mr. Redwood explained that he felt the UK was still in a position to walk away from post-Brexit trade talks without an agreement. He continued, "I believe that ending up just leaving puts us in a perfectly good position. But of course, I would rather we had a free trade agreement as well. It is massively in the EU's interest to get a good trade deal, but we will only get it if the EU recognise that there is nothing better on offer from their point of view. They would clearly rather have a free trade agreement modified by controls and laws and taxes imposed on us." Mr. Redwood also claimed that the EU was scared of what a prosperous Britain would be like and are fearful it could undermine the bloc. He said, "I think the EU's worry related to everything else but the trade deal. I think the EU worries that if we have a reasonable scope to make our own laws, set our own taxes and negotiate our own trade deals with the rest of the world, we may be quite good at that. What they don't want is a very successful UK as soon as we leave the EU, as they would see that as a commentary on the European Union." The coronavirus pandemic gripping the globe has forced Brexit talks between the UK and EU to be postponed indefinitely as both groups deal with